Hello everyone, welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaby Creators. Today we have Mr. Sameet Gambhir with us. Mr. Gambhir is a corporate legal professional and company secretary with over 25 years of experience in different fields and is presently a VP and company secretary of DCM Shriram Limited, New Delhi. Sameet's expertise include regulatory and corporate legal matters, corporate compliances under various corporate laws, SEBI regulations, RBI and FEMA matters, contract management and legal documentation. Actually, he carries a vast experience in handling board meetings, shareholder meetings, investor relations, litigation support. I can go on and on, of course. He has also handled many investigations, brand protection issues, litigations related to civil, criminal, company law, cyber and IT laws, and cybercrime matters as well. He's a regular speaker, panelist on various seminars, conferences, and also a guest lecture at various management and law institutes. And we have had a privilege of having him in our LexTalk World Conference 2022 as well. I don't have to forget this, but he is also one of the first people that we interviewed and got on board when we were starting with the LexTalk journey. Without any further ado, let me just introduce you to the man himself. Hello, Mr. Gambhir. How are you?
I am good, Bharti. How about you?
I am good, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, first of all, for giving us time and giving us the opportunity for the second time to interview you on our platform. We're really delighted. And one more thank you for being a part of LexTalk World Conference 2022 and making it a huge success. It was a pleasure.
So I'm going to say about that because, I am really feeling very thrilled and very excited to be part of your second interview. Reason being that, I've seen your first event and it was a wonderful event. I was there. I met a lot of people there in Dubai. And this was one of the best event, I would say. And the kind of panelists, the kind of panel, the kind of people we met there. And it is the kind of organization, kind of way you organize it. It was really, really good. So I really had a very wonderful experience, Bharti, in the Dubai event. So congratulations and compliment to your team to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It means a lot, especially coming from you. It means everything. Now, let's start with your journey in the legal industry. I know it's been over 25 years now. I'm sure you have a lot to say. And for our viewers, I would really like to enlighten them about you and your specializations at the same time.
Sure. So yeah, it's more than 25 years that I am in this field. So I am a company secretary and a law graduate. So when I started my career, initially I started as a company secretary. Initially, first I did my CS first, and when I was company secretary, I was made a company secretary of the company in a very initial year itself. So I was given the charge of legal function also, and since then I've been handling the legal also. Maybe around 95, 96 till maybe the last organization until today. So I have been handling the legal as well as corporate secretarial. So this was a great journey. I have learned a lot during this period. When I started as a company secretary, then when the legal function was given to me, then I started, working on a lot of civil cases, criminal cases, labor law cases, and then we gradually, I developed my skill into contracting and then negotiation of contract and then investigations, due diligences. And of course, when you are with a listed entity, there's a lot of corporate governance issue nowadays and SEBI listed requirement, compliances, and then whole lot of compliances, they're increasing day by day. So it's almost, it's 25, 27 years, been a very good journey, I would say, Bharti.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gambhir, and we completely agree with you. At the same time, nothing worth having comes easy. So I'm sure you must have handled really complex issues in this journey throughout. And it will be really unfair of me to ask you just one complex issue if you can tell us about it. But I'm going to ask it anyway, because this is like my favorite question. And if you can also describe the complexity of the matter.
So I think you're right. In legal and in compliances, every day is a little complex because every day you have a new challenge. And you don't know, today you are thinking of something very, very complex, and tomorrow you realize, oh, it was so easy. The complex is today now, the challenge is today now. So I think in my journey, few instances I really remember that these were really challenges for me, and I really how I handled it. Initially, in the beginning of my year, I first handled the merger amalgamation of 4-5 companies together. That was a big task for me. And I was alone handling this as a legal and company secretary. And that part of time there were no internet and no emails, etc. were there when I started my career. It was very, very difficult to coordinate with the people, coordinate with agencies, lawyers. Then you used to write the things, and then so all kind of difficulties were there. But you know, you need to be very dedicated to that particular thing, and therefore I was very, very dedicated on that assignment, and it was from the heart of my maybe from my soul or heart inside that this is something I have to really complete it very fascinatingly. So I really it took me almost a year to complete that transaction, but that was one of my best transaction which initial year I handled. And then if you're talking about further, when I was with KPMG, so we were doing joint ventures with KPMG US and KPMG UK. And that's where, I got exposed to the attorneys and the lawyers of US and UK and other European lawyers. And that gave me a lot of exposure, while discussing with them, negotiating with them, a lot of things. And I got a lot of learning from these people. How do they act? How do they behave? And how do they actually do the things? And then successfully we did that joint ventures. And so these are some of the complex issues. Plus in listed entity, when the insider trading norms were, SEBI made and insider trading norms very critical. And to make compliances of all the insider trading related norms is actually a difficult job, which it was very difficult. It took a lot of time to make the people aware of all these compliances and all. And then now the things seem to be under control now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gambhir, for sharing that with us. Now, as your role, I mean, how would you describe the increasing role of an in-house counsel on governance and compliance matters of a listed entity? And did you see this role evolve in the past few years?
Oh, yes, certainly. Because, the role of an in-house counsel, whether he's a company secretary or a legal counsel or a general counsel, particularly the role of mine, which is, in-house counsel as well as company secretary, I think the role of governance, in contributing to the governing and governance role is very, very important. One is that in a listed entity, particularly where the SEBI and the company law has a lot of development now, a lot of new compliances. I would say immediately after a lot of fiascos happened, like Satyam and other fiasco happens, then there was a complete change in our legal system. The company law and the SEBI had come out a number of governance provisions, and the idea was that compliances ke saath saath governance is very, very important, and that governance is to be in the culture of the organization. It's to be in the I would say DNA of the organization. And that's how I think the role of an in-house counsel or a company secretary is that, you have to really see the board is, what the board is thinking and how do we escalate the board's decision to the different functions and tell them that this is what the board desires. This is what the tone at the board level, which, you have to escalate to translate to the other functions. And you have to really let them know the seriousness the board think about the governance and compliances. And I'm lucky to see that the board members are also very, very serious about governance and compliances, because everyone now knows the value of that. And therefore, company secretary or in-house counsel is the right channel to cascade or to, translate these governance to the organization and to tell the organization that this is what the top management is looking for, and this is what it should be the culture of the organization. So I think it's very important.
Thank you very much for answering that question, Mr. Gambhir. Just to again go a bit deeper into it, do you agree that independent directors on these, corporate boards, they contribute in increasing the credibility and governance standards of the company?
So I think, yeah, the concept of independent directors is very important concept. Initially, we have not seen much impact of the independent directors in Indian INC particularly, but we have seen in different countries. But now we really see that since the time the independent directors have been given a lot of responsibilities under the law, and at the same time they have been given the powers to really see if they want to hire somebody external agency, if they have to satisfy themselves before approving anything, they should do that. So I think the role of independent directors have really, really tremendously increased in making the credibility of the company and making the company as a governance compliant company, or governance and compliant company. And I tell you, some of the instances, like there was a amendment in related party transaction. Now, related party transaction is, every transaction is to be approved by an audit committee. An audit committee is basically consists of independent directors mostly. So even if you have other directors, the majority should be the independent director. And that's where we have really seen that the way they are actually, taking information, deliberating on the meetings, talking, asking for the information. Sometime I have seen in my organization, also in previous organization, where the independent directors have asked for specialized agency to let them know, let them educate in case they don't know anything before approving any transactions. So this is one of the examples I'm telling you, the related party transactions. So therefore, what we see is independent directors are very much cautious nowadays, because we have seen some of the independent directors have really faced some consequences also in past. But if, for example, Satyam, again I'm giving you the example of Satyam, the independent directors we really seen that there was no value of independent directors since everything has happened below their nose. So now independent directors are really, really very cautious, and the companies are also hiring the real skills now, because the composition of the board and diversity of the board really matters a lot. So I think in the present era, for the last 10 years, I am seeing that independent directors are really contributing a lot in the Indian INC, and we have seen the results for that. And yes, the credibility definitely of the company increases if the good independent directors are there.
And actually, your experience in handling or interacting with independent directors during, the board meetings or even otherwise, I mean, I'm sure that you feel that it's kind of very important, and you guys hold a very critical position. Even the company secretary position. I'll just talk about your position as well. So any kind of experience that you would like to share with us?
So I think, what I have realized is that, independent directors are there for the board meeting, that's true, but to engage with them and to interact with them even without board meetings and during the year is also contribute a lot. So whenever we see that there are certain issues we are facing, I generally keep interacting with independent directors, otherwise also, and my CFO also, and sometimes our other, CEO also. So we invariably talk to them. We take their help also in matters sometimes, because they are experts. They are experts in financial matters. They are expert in industries issue. They are expert in legal issues. So whenever we feel that something which we need some more expert, and something which will go before the board or before the audit, before that we should have some kind of preparation. So I think it's important to get engage with them, to interact with them, so that there is a rapport maintained between him and you, and then there is a comfort of talking to each other. And therefore I think it's important for all the legal counsels and CEOs and CFOs to regularly interact with their independent directors and try to understand their requirements, and also take their help and take their use of their expertise wherever required. So I think it really helps, according to me, in my experience. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gambhir, and thank you for bearing with me for my follow-up questions as well.
No, that's fine. I'm really happy to answer that question.
Thank you. Mr. Gambhir, the pandemic saw board meetings and shareholder meetings by the corporate sector in the virtual form, and we have seen a great shift in the past 2 years, especially thanks to pandemic. Is this like sustainable? And how has been the response of board members and shareholders, more particularly for a possible way to make it a permanent feature? And the only reason why I'm asking this, because when I've had conversations with different lawyers, we usually only get to hear about the court hearings and
Right.
and all of these things. But I just wanted to know about this aspect as well, and there's nobody better than you to answer that.
No, even, that's a very important question, Bharti, in today's era. Even in the court matters, I have realized that, people are, one side, the people and the lawyers are happy that they can attend simultaneously hearing, they don't have to run from one court to another court. But at the same time, somewhere inside, they are missing the physical hearings, actually. I have really seen people saying that, I'm okay, I'm saving a lot of time, but the way we used to do the physical hearing, face expression, body languages, actually every lawyer is missing that. And that's where we also miss. I have never thought that, one day I'll be sitting at my home and convening the board meetings. I have never thought of it so many years of my career. But what happened, the pandemic made us realize that everything is possible. Every director, even the age of 70 years or 30 years, or people like me, they are sitting at our residences doing the board meeting virtually. This was a great experience, and everybody realized, all the directors are, we did the evaluation of the director. Every year you have to do the evaluation wherein there's a lot of questions. So, the one question our chairman asked all the directors, that what's your feedback on the virtual meetings and what do you want, this to continue? So everyone was say that very, very smooth. Initially, we were never thought that it's going to be so smooth, because they are used to have all kind of a meetings where the people sitting with each other, having cup of tea and all. Of course, everyone misses that cup of tea and the lunch together, no doubt about that. But people have really find it. Number one, the people come on time on the virtual meeting. There's no concept of delay. Somebody is coming, traffic ye phas gaya, there se aa raha, etc., etc. So people are always on time. And number two, the things quickly taken care. So I think overall experience is really, really good so far as the Indian board members and Indian INC is concerned. They are happy. There is no doubt about that. And the regulator has also taken it very positively. Regulator, the ministry has actually made it kind of a permanent feature also, that you can always do that. Earlier, there was certain restriction to do that. So regulator is also happy. Now the regulator is thinking that making the shareholders meeting also virtual permanently, but still not. But as of now, it's temporary. I think the experience is really, really good. But once in a while, you really feel that at least if you are meeting 4 times in a year, at least once in a year or twice in a year, you should meet physically to have discussion. But no doubt, this can become a permanent feature according to me.
Well, that's true. Now, the impossible has already happened, and I'm sure we are ready for the future, whatever it may throw.
Yes, yes.
Now, with 26, 27 years of experience, Mr. Gambhir, and we were actually talking about it in your introduction, that you have seen that time also when there were no emails and
Right.
it's like really difficult. But now when you see things are so smooth, now in this era of legal technology, what are the most commonly used tools for you? Like right now, I'm sure one of them is Zoom, of course, but the other tools, if you can.
Yeah, so Zoom is something which is actually making it very Zoom and other interactive tools, no doubt about that. But which we never thought that we'll be very frequently using it. अगर ये pandemic नहीं होता तो maybe even today we will not been using that.
Because
But the other tools also, when we realized that there was a time when in the legal you were working on the contracts, for example, you were working on the litigation things. It used to take a lot of time. Then you need to have a lot of workforce to, making the index of the things, making alert for the things. Now you have, for example, contract related software. It gives you all the standard contracts, and wherever there is a deviation, you need to look at that. You need to spend your time, otherwise people can use their standard. That is one tool. Second is litigation related tool, wherein they not only tell you the possible outcome of your litigation based on the previous litigation similar, but also let you know, remind you that this is what you have to do on this date, this is what you have to do on that hearing. So this is actually making the life a little easy. Plus, when you have to negotiate the contract, so artificial intelligence also let you know that this is where you have to more focus on that. Plus board meeting, one is that board meeting on the Zoom. Other is there are many software for holding the board meeting, wherein you can circulate the agenda to the board member, and they at their laptop or they're at their iPad, they can do on the annotations, they can do changes and all, they can keep the comments ready, and they can sit with their laptops for the board meeting. So which has made really easy for them. So there is all paperless meetings nowadays. Plus, in terms of other tools like we are using for related party monitoring, as I told you. So we are using some kind of a control mechanism in SAP itself, wherein we can identify who are the related parties on the basis of their PAN numbers, and then we can control that. So technology is really, really helping us a lot, no doubt about that, in legal matters also.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Mr. Gambhir. Now, you have spent, I've mentioned this a couple of times already, you have spent like 26, 27 years with a jealous mistress. That's law. So, and we all know that time is something, and we have personal life, then professional life.
Oh, by the way, can you see in the background, there is an award given to me by LexTalk.
Yes.
You can seriously see that.
Yes.
These are the things which you really earn,
Thank you so much, sir. It means a lot. It means everything to us. So, okay, yeah. coming back. So how do you ensure that you're taking care of your, first of all, the professional life, and at the same time in professional, again, there's like in-house counsel and company secretary, and at the same time personal life, how do you ensure you make the most of your time? And I mean, it's very difficult, I'm sure, but now you must be used to it. So how you have handled it so far?
Yeah, so you have to make balance actually. It's very difficult because initially there was a time when we used to be young, so we never used to care about it. But then we realized that health is also very important, family is also very important for you, and you need to give time to them. So every legal counsel is busy, no doubt about that. And the practicing lawyers are more busy because they have deadlines, everyday hearing and all. But you have to make a balance. You really have to strike a balance, no doubt about that. And you realize at certain age, I think 2-3 things which I really do is, one is, you need to update it yourself, keep yourself updated to the extent possible. Early morning, you go for newsletter or something, and then, you are updated at least, you're not wasting your time. Second is delegation. Whenever there are youngsters or new people are there in your team, please delegate them first. Tell them that this is what you have to do, and then see what all you have to do after that. Delegation is an art actually, and the kind of delegation you need is that they should be able to take their calls. Plus, what I do is to make a balance in the work-life balance kind of a thing. I make it a point that I go for a small holidays. Once in a year, you really like to go for a long holiday, no doubt about it. But whenever I get an opportunity in the weekend or extended weekend, I definitely, once in a month, I would like to go for a small holiday, like, driving distance for 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers with my family. So what I've realized is, even with my parents, I used to go that when you are in a car and the entire family is sitting in the car, you talk a lot, because at home you are sitting at your mobile phone busy, you're sitting at the TV, you're working at the laptop. But when you're sitting in a car, driving on a highway, then you really talk to each other, a lot of things which you really don't talk at home. So that's where I try to be with my family and take my small short holidays. Plus, I'm very passionate about golf. I'm a golfer also, so I really like to play at least 2 or 3 days in a week golf. So that also makes me disconnect with my daily routine. These are some of the tips.
Thank you, Mr. Gambhir. Now, sadly, we are coming to an end of this amazing conversation. But before I let you go, just one more question. What's your take on ESG? And is it like old wine in a new bottle, in your opinion? And what is the seriousness of this in India?
Actually, ESG is very important today, and everything is, you see a lot of buzz around ESG. Everything, yes. Everywhere you will see, internationally, globally, India, ESG, environmental, social, and governance.
And governance, yeah.
Yeah, but, if you really talk me from the India perspective, there has always been ESG in India, because since our Manusmritis or Purans on Chanakya's times, we have been seeing that how a king should rule the kingdom. How, we have seen our businessmen, our people, with the wealth, creating temples, creating other things, creating shelters, etc., social work and all. So I'm not saying in our country or every country it has been happening, but ESG is something which is wherein, one factor of the governance is very important, which we realize a little later sometime that, one is that you have to comply, one is that you have to do a lot of things. The other is that you have to let the people know about it. So ESG is about doing good work, and particularly after climate change, environment has become a, most important thing. So yes, we all seeing the impact of climate change. So I think every organization's responsibility is to be as possible to be involved in ESG as they can. You should have a separate budget for that. Even if you have a CSR budget, but for ESG, you should have a separate budget. And I think because it's the time that when you have to really demonstrate also, when you do a good work, you have to really disclose also, stakeholders should know about it, that they should take proud that your company you are working with. So I think it's important that you involve your stakeholder, all customers, vendors, engage with them, talk to them, make them aware of your policies and all. And also, then you get a lot of good funding also if your ESG score is good. That is another issue. So I think I will not say completely old wine in a new bottle. Yes, up to some extent, yes, but this has entirely changed because of climate change, because of governance practices. And then, we have seen that there has been many corporate scandals, which were because of the lack of governance. So while you're talking about environment and social, so these things combined actually really create a magic. And I think, yes, every organization should take a lot of time to do this, because ultimately what you're doing is doing for it's your bid for the climate, for the world, for the soil, everything you have to do. So I think it's really important, and every in-house counsel, I think, should be involved in that, according to me.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, first of all, for giving us time. But before I let you go, just one again, I know that I'm asking a lot of questions. Any advice that you would like to give to the budding lawyers?
Yeah, I think 2-3 things are very important. One is that, keep yourself updated. आज की डेट में आसान हो गया. When we started our career, it was very difficult to keep ourselves updated because किताबें पढ़ेंगी, छपेंगी. Now everything you have, the moment there is any change, you immediately get to know on your mobile phone and all. So keep yourself updated in your area, because ultimately, what I used to tell all the lawyers is that ultimately, whenever we say that we are business facilitator, we are business enablers, we are there for the client, but ultimately client or the company pays you for your expertise. Please remember that. So even if you are doing a good for the business, maybe, you have done a lot for generating the business, but make sure that you have done your duty well. If you're an in-house counsel, tell them clearly that I am paid for the mitigating the risk. I am not concerned about the business. I may be a business. I'm not saying that I'm not a business enabler. I am. But yes, my duty is to make sure that there is no further risk. So I think you have to strike a clear balance about that. And so keep yourself updated. Make sure that your duty is to make your client or your organization aware of the legal risk. And third thing is that be yourself. I always say be yourself. Don't copy anyone. You be your original one and speak up. Don't shy of speaking up your opinion or your views, even if sometimes you think that what you're doing may not be good, maybe, but that's how you learn it. So speak up your mind and don't be shy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gambhir, for giving us time. It is always a pleasure talking to you. And I'm actually looking forward to some more conversations like these on other trending topics in the legal space. At the same time, if you like this, to our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Gambhir, please like and share this video, and do not forget to subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from industry legal leaders just like Mr. Gambhir. This is Bharti for LexTalk signing off.